Good day. Welcome to Endurance Room. Hope everybody's doing good. I had a little bit of time to slip out in the woods today, so I thought I would shoot a response video to my friend Jake from Clearly Canadian. A couple months ago, he had tagged me in a coffee video. And Jake, I'm sorry it's taken so long to get out in the woods and film this, but with everything that has been going on and all the stuff that's been on in my mind, I was a little apprehensive about some of the things that I wanted to talk about. So I thought I could talk about it through a story that is closely tied into the land that I'm on today. The story of Hiawatha. This is an old story, and it's directly related to some of the things that we're experiencing today in this world. With that, I'd like to tell you the story of Hiawatha Turtle and the Peacemaker. So long ago, the tribes of the Eastern Woodlands, they would come to form the Iroquois Confederacy. They were at war with each other. There was much violence and bloodshed. Food wasn't always readily available, and there was cannibalism going on. Great violence. There was a leader, a great powerful chief, was known as the Totadaho. He lived separate from his people. He had his own longhouse out in the swamp. He was in touch with the dark elements, black magic. He enjoyed cannibalism. He enjoyed the power that it gave him, and he used that to control his people. He told them to go out and war against each other, to go out and fight and commit these atrocities against their own brothers. Hiawatha was great war chief of his tribe. He went out on many raids and fought for his people, but when he went out, he was very fierce. He engaged in great violence, did terrible things. One day Hiawatha was out on a raid, and while he was out, his enemies came in and they murdered his wife, they murdered his children. When he came home and saw this, he was completely destroyed. He ended up leaving his tribe and went off and wandered the wilderness. Around the same time that Hiawatha was wandering the wilderness, feeling the loss of his family, another man appeared from across the Great Lakes. His name was the Peacemaker, and he desired to bring the tribes together and to heal the land. But this prophet was mute. He was unable to speak. Their paths crossed, and he was able to heal Hiawatha. He was able to bring him out of his misery and conveyed to him his message of peace, of unity. They knew that in order to bring the tribes together, they had to deal with the Totadaho. They also knew that they cannot defeat his darkness with more violence. Darkness is overcome by light, and they knew it would not heal the land, it would not heal the people. Instead of meeting him with the axe and with the knife, he met him with his heart. Hiawatha began singing to the chief, singing softly. As he did so, he started to comb out the chief's hair. He combed out the dreadlocks, and as the hair became untangled, the snakes that had been living there fell out and slithered away. His tones, his words, the frequency of his voice, it began to lighten the chief's heart, to where he saw the error of his ways. He saw what he'd become, the things that he had engaged in. Hiawatha told him that he could still be chief, he could still be a leader of his people, he could be a great chief, but he had to be coming from a place of light, from a place of love, rather from this dark, negative place that he'd been living in. And through that act of love and kindness, the Iroquois Confederacy was born. They used a belt of wampum to symbolize their treaty of peace. And they planted a great tree, a white pine tree, at the base of Onondaga Lake. They chose the white pine because its needles grew in clusters of 5, one needle for each of the 5 tribes. It signified their unity, that they were going to grow together. It healed their land, it healed their people. The Treaty of the Iroquois served as the guide stone for the founding fathers of America when they were forming the Constitution. Unfortunately, it seems that the same sickness that was confronting those tribes all those years ago has reemerged into our world today. It's happening in the very top levels of our society, and it's being suppressed. We're told not to think about it, not to look at it, that it's not real. We're supposed to be focused on, a cold or, social issues, political processes. And regardless of how important any of that stuff is, none of it is more important than the stuff that's going on behind the curtain. And I think it's a large part of why people are being kept apart. They're being told that, this is for our safety and for our well-being. But it's because this stuff is come to the surface and it's come to light. They don't want us talking about it. They don't want people being unified behind it, because that's exactly what's going to happen. It doesn't matter what problems people are concerned with their job, with politics, with entertainment, with this virus, any of it. None of it is more important than what's happening to our kids and, our women around the world. To be clear, there is no room for this in our society, in our world. It is completely unnatural. It is wrong on every level, and it needs to be cut out permanently.